Well, good morning. We are here celebrating the book launch of Sacred Hearts Rising. Sacred Hearts Rising, my brain just went, we've been having technical difficulties. So guess what? Here we are. Courage Under Fire, Sacred Hearts Rising, Courage Under Fire. We have Brenda Hammond, who is the woman behind the scenes that has brought all this together. This is the fourth and final version of book in the series for Sacred Hearts Rising. Brenda has been the mastermind behind it all, and what an amazing series it's been. We also have Nance, and we have Carolyn Block, and we welcome all of you in this day of amazing celebration. So as we get started, Nancy, you were in the second book, I believe. Your name of your chapter
Yes, I was in the second book. It was called In Heaven. In Heaven. There we go.
And the name of your chapter was called Courage to Heal, right?
Yeah, Courage to Heal. And now, I mean, here we are years later, and what a mass change and transformation.
So tell us about that change and transformation. What happened for you?
Oh, so very much. Delving into areas of my life that I had kept in the shadows for a long time, living a lie. I had lived a lie for decades, and living that lie kept me stuck in that lie. And it wasn't until I was able to ask for help, number one, and then have that person re-ask me a few times, that I was able to step forward and never, ever, ever walk alone. I think that was one of the most powerful parts of my journey, is that I've always had people that have been willing to help me as long as I'm willing to ask. So by telling my truth.
That's quite the journey to be able to have the courage to even ask for, in the first place. Yeah. And so your life has moved forward. What do you do in the world today? What's your thing that you do that makes a difference in our world?
I help people recover their lives to a better feeling place, whatever that may be. We struggle in different areas of our lives. We get growth opportunities, and they don't feel like opportunities. They feel like obstacles. They feel like we get the rug pulled out from underneath us, that our life is completely changed. And I help people understand what that obstacle is, and I help them find the opportunities in that. And I call that recovering your joy.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. How about for you, Carolyn? You were in, I believe you were in book 1, right?
I was in the first book.
Very good. And then you're back for book 4, and your chapter was called Finding My Wings.
Finding My Wings, yes.
All right, let's have a conversation about that.
I think it's something that's always happening, actually. I always refer to myself as a butterfly. You're cocooned up, and then it's about finding your wings. Over and over again in life, I think, okay, I'm back there. I found my wings. I'm ready to fly. Unfortunately, life throws you stuff, kind of tries to break your wings, but it's just about going and still finding. And honestly, this book and this group of ladies is truly a sisterhood. Like Nancy, what a beautiful soul. And knowing people like these, Brenda, and just a bunch of ladies from the books have just helped me so much. So for that, I'm happy. And it is truly a sisterhood. And I believe it to be like that.
That's beautiful. I wrote in a chapter for another book called Wisdom of the Silver Sisters, and talked about the divinity of sisterhood and how truly valuable that is, because we can sometimes walk the road of the life, and feel completely alone when we do not have to. We do not have to do that. And it's joining hearts, joining minds, joining arms, linking arms together to grow and to thrive, because we're not meant to live and go through life's experiences by ourselves.
Oh, no, that it is totally true. Back a while ago, I was having problems, and I reached out to some of the ladies from the books, like Daphne, and I know Nancy also was kind of a part of it. And Liz, what a beautiful soul. So all these women, I just kind of grasped for sisters, and they were there. Yes. And so for that,
So
I
true.
love it.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. When I am trying to find just that tidbit of why is this happening to me? Because we ask that no
Mm,
matter how much we move forward, we always, why is this happening to me?
mm,
We need to be pulled back into that, why is this happening for me? And I mean, I reach out to Denise for cards. Denise was in the third book. You know,
yeah.
if I ever need a swift kick in the butt, I reach out to Bonnie. She'll always tell me exactly how it is.
Sometimes we don't want to hear that, but so Brenda, you were the mastermind behind all of this, and you had the vision. That's how you lead in our world today, and you have done a remarkable job, not only with your own personal books, but also bringing this amazing array of amazing women, beautiful women who rise above, who have the courage to stand up and share their stories. Where did this start for you?
It started for me because I wanted to turn something positive out of all of the negative that I had gone through. And the only way that I felt that I could make a difference in my life was by sharing the story. And I thought that if I could at least reach one woman, one other woman who is living in the shadows, basically because of what happened to her, and she's afraid to move forward, and she can't move forward for fear, guilt, and shame. I wanted to reach one woman. And so I decided to share my story, not to out anybody or to do any of that, but to say, you know what, you're not alone. You're not alone. And so then when I did that, then, Sacred Hearts started to come into fruition. And it was about really sharing the story of my granddaughter that died, because I wanted her life to make a difference in somebody else's world. That negativity of losing her when she was 7 days old to turn into something positive in helping other people who lost children realize that, there is a positive in this. That little girl had chose us to be her family for her whole life, however long that was. And it was only 7 days, but what an impact she has made in this world for all these other women. Even Nancy's daughter, when she lost her daughter, the impact that she has created in such a positive, beautiful way is amazing. And that's what we can do. We can take all of that crap and turn it into something beautiful, and other people can learn from it and share from it and grow from it.
Well, you
So, yeah,
certainly have lived by example in doing that. You truly have, and we honor you for that, because this, the journey, because we can just simply wallow in the grief, and sometimes people do that for their entire lives. Is wallow in the grief, never rise above. But it's a choice. It's a choice to rise up. It's a choice to thrive. It's a choice to be happy. And yes, we do get thrown those curveballs, like Carolyn mentioned. We do have those times when we seem to just go, right back down. But but I think for those of us that once we've had a taste of that, wow, it feels really good to feel good.
Yeah.
It really feels good to shine, that we don't stay in that low peak. We may be there for a while, but we realize, we remember that, how amazing it felt to feel so good,
Like
and
Carolyn,
we do what it takes. We do what it takes.
Yeah, Carolyn's story is absolutely phenomenal. Her fortitude and her will to not let cancer defeat her, not let cancer define her life, is miraculous. A lot of people are diagnosed with it, and they go down that rabbit hole, and they stay down that rabbit hole. And I totally understand. And if they're in that rabbit hole, they need to read Carolyn's story, because Carolyn pulls you out of the rabbit hole by your bootstraps and shows that if she can overcome the cancers that she went through, then, we can turn that negative into a positive. And Carolyn is a fine example of that.
Thank you, Brenda. I've actually had a lot of people over the years who have come to me who
Yeah.
have been diagnosed with cancer and stuff, and it's a crushing diagnosis. But
It is.
personally, to me, with both cancers, the power of positivity. There is the days when you don't want to get up. I made sure every day I got up, I put on my makeup, I did my stuff, I kept going. There were so many people, how are you so positive? Because if you let that beat you, it will. And I
Yes.
would never let it beat me. I remember even my first cancer, my very first day at the cancer clinic. I had longer hair. The doctor goes, all this hair will be gone in 7 to 14 days. Cried, just cried. I was 26, just vain. And at the end of it, I still had, I don't know, maybe 70% of my hair. And he's like, I don't know how you still have hair. He said, willpower. I wouldn't let you or this cancer take it from me.
Yeah.
And it was just about being your own strength. Like, you know, nobody's going to do this battle for you. We all have our friends with us, but bottom line, it's about finding that inner strength to kind of go with.
Yep. No, it's very true. And, you know, and with Nancy too, finding the inner strength with such a devastating loss of a child. You know, Jaden was my granddaughter. She wasn't my child. So, you know, I understand from a grandmother's perspective how devastating it is. And Nancy has shown us that you can be devastated. You can be raw. You can fall down into the pits of despair, but you can also pick yourself up and you can make the memory of your child something great, something bigger than life itself. And for that, like, you know, that's a phenomenal thing for her to do also. And the inner strength that it takes to be able to do that is amazing. I applaud.
Once you begin speaking about one truth, one shadow, one shame, all the other ones get easier too.
Yep.
And it
Yeah.
beats the alternative. It beats the alternative, doesn't it? Just, you know, being sad all the time or in grief all the time does not serve. And
I got tired of my own company.
yeah.
I got tired of that. Everybody got tired of it. They got tired of the anger as well. They got tired of the vengeance. They got tired of all of those different versions. And I realized that at the end of the day, I was the one that went to bed with me. I was the one that woke up with me. And I wanted to find that happiness that I once had. And my future was built around the dream of my future with my daughter. And I had to find a way to unravel what that meant without her so that I could create something different yet similar. I still wanted to go back to university. I still wanted to become a yoga teacher. I still wanted to do all of those things. And once I moved past the guilt of living without her, then things began to happen. But that was a big part of it. I was guilty for being happy. That was a big one. That was heavy.
Right. And you know that she would only want you to be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, here I am, 2 granddaughters under my belt. You know, it was really easy having grandchildren. I like that. It's so much easier than having children. You get to be like, you got this, you can do it. But they are different. Grandchildren are such a subtle, soft love as compared to a child. I mean, it's still as intense, but it is much softer, much more subtle. And I get to be that more gentle. I mean, I am Nona Sparkle's superhero mermaid, but I mean.
Yeah. The best description of a grandma ever. And there's nothing like being a grandma.
Blessed, yeah, it's blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. There's nothing like being a grandma.
Nope.
Yeah.
And as grandmas and as women, as we stand up and start, you know, just making the choices to shine, you know, look at your grandchildren. All of us look at it. Carolyn, do you have grandchildren at all? Or?
No, not yet, but I have a niece and nephew I consider my own children, and between them they have 4. So Auntie Kara's like a step-in grandma, and yeah, I definitely feel like a grandmother to them.
That's awesome.
And they are definitely loves of my life. They go anywhere from 6 years to 2 1-year-olds, so they're so much fun.
There's
And yet
nothing
just
like
get
it, is
to
there?
spoil them, the unconditional love they give.
Yeah.
And you get to be a superhero to them, right?
Oh yeah, grandmas can get away with lots of stuff, and I remember with Austin, when she was probably about 5 or 6, getting on the quad, and we had thistles that were growing like 6 feet tall down in this lowland, and we would burn through these big thistles, and it would be like, we were in, I was almost like Lord of the Rings, going through, and her name was Hunter, and when she was getting the dinosaur, it was absolutely amazing. And we did that one whole summer. And I said to her, well, you should take your mom. No, grandma. this is our thing, but it was funny. So you both shared in the book in the full circle segment. How was that experience for you? Because we shared your very first story, and then following right behind was how things changed for you. How was that experience in writing that part of your story? Tough question.
That is so tough. That is so tough, because I look at the person that I was when I first began writing, and it was so scary. It was so scary to write my truth. And then here I am now, where it's a different flow. It's so much easier, but it's still hard. It's still so hard. But it's one of the things that beats my heart. And as I keep moving and stepping forward, I'm entering places that I never, ever imagined, not just with the difficulties and the shadows, but with the things that I'm creating by imagining it first and imagining it big, like big enough for God to fit in, is what I say. So to see how when I was playing small, I created small, whereas now I'm creating bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just the way that the divine connects people to us. To see that when you look backwards, like, wow, all of this happened because I just took a risk, a good risk.
Yeah.
Good risk.
Wow, that is beautiful. Wow, thank you.
How about you, Carolyn?
Yes,
Reflecting
it was
back.
quite something to write the first book, and to, like, as Nancy said, to put yourself out there. To me, that left me feeling so vulnerable, just so raw. Like sometimes when someone would ask for the book and they would start reading my story in front of me, it was hard. I didn't even know how to react to that. So with time, I definitely feel like I've grown with that. Like I was proud of it. It was just the vulnerability to it.
Yes.
So I wish I'd come a little further than I have, but I love the route I'm on. It's kind of where I feel like now COVID and shutting a person in kind of took me down a different road. Like the dark rabbit hole, that's something I had to watch out for, because I wasn't leaving the house as much. So I became very inward, and I had to be like, this isn't me. I really turned into painting. I think I have 50, 60 some paintings down in my collection, and I've probably given away about 20. So I really tried to focus on something different instead of letting COVID and kind of that depression of being in, because it's like, that's not who I am. That's not my story. My story is a survivor. So that's a part of the reason I want to rewrite again, because I learned so much about myself. The things that I thought were the right ideals. No, as you get older, you start to learn things that, maybe when you're in your 20s or 30, you're stubborn. These are my ideas. And you start to learn and grow. That's where I am. And in like the growing stage still. And it's kind of crazy. I'm 47, but I'm still growing and I'm still learning. And I love that these women have helped me do that as well.
Honey, I'm 65 and I'm still learning. So
I'm 65
I think every
as well.
single one of us picked up something during COVID that we might have done before, or we wanted to expand on, because we had to keep our hands busy.
Mhm.
right? Like that was one of the things that happened with me is I had to find something to do with my hands that was constructive. So I mean, I was cooking in the kitchen, I started creating teas. And I mean, when I say I started creating teas, I've got 75 blends now. So then it was like, how do I get this out to the world? What's the next step?
You
And
need to talk to Liz.
right. Well, and I had an interview with Liz. I'm like, I'm going to be talking to you more about teas, but it was a little bit of Liz and a little bit of being at a tea shop and a little bit of this and a little bit of that that made me go, hey, if only I was doing that, I would wait. I can.
Mhm.
And, and then I'm wearing the t-shirt. I can, I must, I will. That kind of a mantra. If you can step into that power, because when you take back your power and your control, anything is possible. Because nobody, I mean, we give our power away.
Yes.
But we teach people how to treat us. So when you change that, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Remarkable. It's amazing by showing up in the world in positive ways and the ripple effect that happens as a result of that, whether we help just one person or many ones, but the biggest one we help is ourselves. We really do.
True.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect is so true. Lots of times Nancy would post videos. I don't think I've seen much lately, but I would find myself the whole time watching them just grinning like a fool because she has this infectious energy about her.
She does. Yeah.
And it would be like someone would say, why are you watching this video? I don't know. It's just cool. She's happy. Her energy makes me feel good. So.
And it wasn't like that. Mornings used to suck. I hated mornings. I hated rolling out of bed. It was like, great, here I am again. I was not happy to be alive. And figuring out for me the why of that was very important because it wasn't just the emotional, it was also the physical. And to admit that I was depressed was a journey. And for me, it wasn't your typical depression. For me, it was hypothyroidism and Graves' disease. And I didn't know why it was called Graves' disease. I knew it was something about bulging eyes, but I didn't know that the tendency to have suicidal thoughts, because I didn't have depression so much as I just didn't want to be alive. And for me, it was different. There's different shades of it. But it was through my own research that I found that out. A doctor never explained that to me. They just said, Graves' disease, and then they gave me the physical aspect. And I started reading book after book after book, and then reaching out to other people to help me understand, because we don't know it all. I mean, that's why there's so many experts in the world.
If we knew it all, that would be quite something, because one of the biggest things is that we have to, whether we're 25 or 65 or 95, we need to keep on learning. We can't always know it all. And it's the day we stop trying to advance ourselves, and the day we stop trying to learn is the day that it's not such a bright thing. It's what we do about life and how we want to make a difference in the world.
Yeah, we're meant to live life, not exist in life. We're meant to live it, warts and all. And and
there's so many fun ways to do that. I mean, now that the world is reopening up, there's that karaoke night. Even if you just go to watch for the first little while before you make the choice to, sing a little bit of Mamma Mia or something like that, whatever floats your boat.
That's happening in July, by the way.
I know it is. Take a chance on me, right? I mean, it's so much fun.
You're going to see me in spandex. Now that's not going to be a pretty sight.
Are you having a birthday party this year, Brenda?
Yes, you're going to be getting an invite.
For sure.
Yeah, we're having an ABBA blast or an ABBA bash or whatever. So you're going to have to come dressed in your best ABBA era outfit or whatever. But yes, there will be live performances. And let's just say Bud and I in spandex. Ooh.
Scary.
It's going to be absolutely hilarious. Now that is one thing about when I shared my story, I just shed everything. Like, I just said, that's it. I can't do this anymore. So you wouldn't have seen me in spandex in my weight that I am right now. But frankly, I don't care because I'm only going to be 65 once. Yeah. So there will be pictures. I know that I'll probably hate, but.
Well, and I bet there's a lot of people who are listening to this. When you ask them, have you ever had a big birthday bash for yourself? The kind that you wanted, not the kind that someone else wanted to put on, but your birthday bash.
Yeah,
Why not
that's-
plan that? No matter
They'll
what
say
the
no.
year is. They'll say no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's true. Yeah.
it's going to be, we have a live band, so it's going to be a good time. So, and if you don't have a good time, then it's your own fault.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in the way that you can have a good time too, because we all have different limitations. Many people who go through addictions struggle with that because
Yeah.
how can I show up at that party? I'm not drinking anymore. How
I
can
don't drink.
I do that? Plan in advance. Plan, get the backup plan. Have those words that you can use with people
Yep.
so that you've got that support when you can say pineapple.
Yep, that's
Or
exactly
whatever
it.
your word is, find that crew. You've got to build a crew. You got to build a tribe. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You must build a tribe to help you in those times.
Nope, that's
because
true.
it's strange if you don't want to drink. Everybody assumes, why? What's the matter? Like, is it a big deal? I'm just not a big drinker. I just choose to not have a drink. But people want to question and pressure. I just don't want one. Thank you very much. I have my cola or whatever. That's my thing. I hate when people push on the alcohol at a party.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, this one is only a bring your own. So, and I never drink, rarely drink. So when I'm acting retarded, I'm sober.
Yeah. Me too. It's not that I never drink. It's just very, very rare. And I don't need to drink to have a good time. That's
No, you
what
don't.
more people
So many
thought.
sides of the compass. And yet we've all had that girlfriend who we've had to, and guy friend who we've had to, help over the toilet, the white bowl of shame. And that's okay too. That we put too much pressure on ourselves and others. There are times in our lives when we show up how we show up, and we need to be loved and supported much more than judged.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think understanding everybody's journey is different. Like you say, understanding and not judge, that's their way. Maybe it's not my way, but it is theirs.
Yeah.
You can guide people as much, but I never tried to push anybody into anything.
No.
What a fun conversation, and how cool is this as a celebration for the actual fourth in the series for Sacred Hearts Rising, and what a accomplishment, and what beauty has sprung from being raw, vulnerable, and authentic, and sharing our lives and stories. Wow.
Yeah. And the friendships that have been created over the years with Sacred Hearts. And it truly is a sisterhood, where anybody can reach out to anybody and say, I'm having a tough time, or I did this, or I did that, and have the support. The unquestionable support is absolutely amazing. You don't have to explain anything. You just have the support, and
no judgment is one thing I found when I reached out to the ladies. No judgment about anything, just welcomed with arms.
Yeah. And that is truly, I think, one of the most amazing things that have come out of Sacred Hearts is the sisterhood.
Yeah. Nothing better. Well, we'll wind down our interview for the day. For today, we have quite a few more interviews coming up throughout the rest of the day of other contributors. Thank you, each one of you, for being here and for the light you shine in the world. And we're so appreciative of that. And keep on shining, keep on sharing, keep on living, and just enjoy. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, ladies.